Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? It is the CBC Wizdumb Hour, number 133 for April 6th, 2021. I'm Steve Witchell in New Orleans.
What's up, everybody? Tony B coming to you live from New Jersey.
That's us right there.
That's us. That's me.
Yes.
Me.
How you doing, everybody in CBC land? If you're watching here live and you want to comment, make sure you click that link in the description. That lets StreamYard show your name. That's all it's going to do is let it show your name so we know who you are. And definitely, if you're watching right now live, say hi and tell us where you're from and what's going on. So what's going on?
What's up?
What's going on there in New Jersey, Tony Beinert?
Beautiful weather, Steve, in New Jersey this week. It was 70 today. Beautiful outside.
Here, too. Very beautiful.
That's good.
Yeah, a little warmer.
Beautiful's good.
A little warmer, but a little windy, but good stuff. Man, there's a lot to talk about.
Lots to talk about, man. Let's start. Let's get right into it. Let's start talking.
Boy, I put it in the description, so some people clicking on it are going to be like, yeah, I know what this is, and I want to hear about this, and I want to chime in on this. Chunk is here. Hey,
Chunk.
He said, hey, guys.
What's happening?
It's nice to have Chunk. I haven't seen him in a bit. 2 weeks in a row now, I've played 3 nights in a row, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And that's the first time in a year.
Now, is that all of Bourbon Street, or is it only select clubs that are open?
It is. Well, most of the clubs are open. I would say all of them are open, but not all of them are having bands.
Okay.
We kind of got in a little earlier than some of them. There's some clubs. The club I used to play at, Crazy Corner, does not have bands yet, and I am not playing there now. I am playing now at Famous Door, which is the best room on the street for bands.
Yeah,
it's the best location. It's the best room, and yeah,
good size stage too, if I remember from when I was down there.
It's a good size stage. It's got it's level up a few stairs from the dance floor, and it's got one level and then a riser level. It's only about like 4 inches higher. That has that's where I set up, and that's where the drummer is. But it's it's a good amount of room to kind of swing around and have fun.
Take a shower. You got a shower curtain up,
The shower. Yeah, we had they played a different band played there on Halloween weekend last year, and because we were still deep in COVID, they put up these cheap dollar store clear shower curtain liners in the front of the stage, and I think we showed a picture of it a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting idea.
Yeah, I think it accomplished nothing.
I think you guys should like black out the room and just light the stage and put like a sheet up and have just like caricatures behind it. You know what I mean?
Oh, like silhouettes. Yeah.
Yeah. Like Prince did at the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Well, it has progressed. This past weekend, the shower curtains were basically down. There was one left hanging on my side. So stage left.
Yes.
Right by there's a door that comes in right there where people come in, and
that's the caddy corner door, right? That's on the corner.
It's not on the corner because the bar extends out further left.
No, but when you walk, what door is it when you walk into Famous Door, and as soon as you walk up the steps, the stage is on your left, and you're looking at the bar.
Yeah, that's stage right.
Yeah. Okay.
So you're walking in by stage right.
You're on the other side.
I'm on the other side, but there's a door over there too, and then there's another door further to the left of that. So it's very accessible. It's really a cool place to play. I've played there about 7 or 8 years ago. I had a stay there for a while.
Yeah.
But now the shower curtains are basically down except for the one on my side. But they put up these plastic, like acrylic, very clear sheets in front of where the keyboard player stands and in front of where the guitar player stands.
So like a plexiglass square on a stand type of thing, but like 4 foot by 4 foot or something, pretty like significant size, or
it's pretty big. I mean, I would say height wise, it's probably more like 7 feet, top to bottom, and width wise, 3 or 4 feet. Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably a 4 by 8 sheet of plexi.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Um, so it's much better as far as we're concerned because now we can see everybody and everybody can see us.
Yeah.
And as far as it protecting us from COVID type of things, it doesn't. It's just it doesn't.
Well, wouldn't it be more to block like singers and because you guys are projecting voice, right? You're just singing out into the crowd, so I would think that that barrier would be more to kind of cordon off the stage area to prevent your COVID particles from flying out of your mouth as you're singing into the crowd.
Well, the singer though is standing in the middle where the staircase down to the dance floor is, so there's no protection
Nope.
there.
Oh, perfect.
So in front of the lead singer, there's nothing. But yeah, I mean,
Got ya.
and it's actually pretty good because it provides this sort of separation for the people who have instruments from
Mhm.
the stage, so they can't put drinks on the stage and mess with your pedals or whatever. So it actually kind of works out fine. So I hope it actually stays because it's not hampering us in any way as far as our performance or seeing the crowd or whatever, and vice
So
versa. So I like it better. That one, I was so tempted to rip that shower curtain down. I just like we're kind of relatively new back in this room. I don't
but you
want to.
couldn't have, like, as you were playing bass, just, like, turn real quick and, like, the neck of your bass just caught the curtain and pulled it down, or
I
have
could,
your drummer do some theatrics, spin some sticks, and, like, throw one your way and just kinda take the curtain out?
I could, I could.
I
I
think you
think
should. I
probably
think you need
technically
to.
at the yeah, I think technically at this point, if I just ripped it down, it would be fine because the other ones got ripped down too, and it's just like the last one left hanging. This pathetic, sad shower curtain liner.
See, Steve, little do you know, but they're gonna install a shower, and they're gonna expect, like, a flash dance type of show
Hey,
next time, so you better wear your Speedo and be
uh,
and somehow ground yourself so you don't get electrocuted.
I'm all about it. Paul Hobson said, "Beers up from the Buckeye." We got Facebook user in Canada, eh?
What's up, eh?
Frank's in Texas, Lone Star State. He's with us. Justin didn't say where he is, but he said, "Hello, sirs."
Hola.
Um, and Ron LG jumped the gun on me, so I'm not going to show your comment yet. But Facebook user said, "Very exciting now that things are opening back up. Can't wait to get back to it."
Yeah.
Tamara, it's in Ohio. It's 78 degrees in Ohio.
Yeah. It's good stuff, man. It was like I said, it's warming up.
Facebook user says, "Hey, doesn't know how to show their names." And sup
Hey, now.
dudes. Facebook user said, "Sup dudes." Let
Sup.
StreamYard show your name. Just click on that link in the description, and it'll show your name, so we know who you are.
Sup, Facebook
Just wanted to
user.
make sure I acknowledge all these people. And Facebook user is also in between New Orleans and Baton Rouge.
Oh, he's down your neck of the woods there, Stevie.
My neck. So so last weekend, I didn't really get to talk about it much because we had Gene from Kashmir on last week,
Yes.
which was great. It was great talking to him. And if you haven't caught that episode, it's on YouTube, on our channel. There, you can go check it out. It was a good interview with him. But at first, the first night, dude, I was after the first Friday night last week. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. This is it's just a lot of work, man. It's a lot of time on stage. It's we do 6 sets, and a set is 45 minutes, and we roll sets in a row. So we'll do 3 sets, take a break, and then do another 3 sets. So we're doing 6 sets. So that's 2 hours and 15 minutes on stage, 15-minute break, and then another 2 hours and 15 minutes of playing.
So think about this. You went from before COVID, right? If my memory serves me correct, and my memory's pretty good, you were playing 5 nights a week at one point,
I was 5 when we first started at
and then
Crazy
it got
Corner
and
with
then it
this
got
band.
cut, and then it was 4.
Then it was 4 for most of the time. Yeah.
Right, but so you had 5 nights in the beginning, and I remember you were pumped, you were psyched, you were like, "It's great, playing, the 2 days off is just enough," and, making great bread and enjoying life playing, right? So now, a year later, right, everyone's out of shape, not physically, mentally, but you know what I mean, like, chops playing wise, right? You haven't you're not in the routine of playing 5 nights a week for, weeks on end, and it makes me think, like you said, it's like a little bit of a grind, but my son showed me the other day, like, a Foo Fighters video from, like, maybe 3 years ago when they're on tour, and
Mhm.
it's a fan actually who I guess had backstage passes, and they're sitting, like, on a road case, like, stage, stage right, so they're on the to the right of the drummer. So from where they're sitting, they got a pretty good shot out, like from stage right, but out past the crowd. You can see the runway that goes out into the arena. You know how Foo Fighters has that runway that Dave runs
Sure.
out on, and
Right.
you get a pretty good glimpse of the stadium. And like, I'm just amazed, dude, that, like, when Dave comes out, he comes running out from the side, into the frame with the guitar on, and they're starting a song, and he just comes out, and he's super high energy, and he's like, everyone's going crazy, and he goes, like, sprinting out that runway all the way to the end, and he's, like, basking in everyone there, and he's, like, jamming out and everything, and they're just, like, just jamming, like, just making noise and not really doing anything, and then they go right into, All My Life, dun, 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 dun.
Right.
He starts going crazy, and as he's singing it, he's behind the mic, and he's just, like, so high energy, and it just, it amazes me to think, like, they do that for 2 or 3 hours plus a night for hundreds of nights on a tour, and the stamina, right, and the energy and the passion, you gotta have to do that. Everyone thinks, like, "Oh, I'm gonna be a rock star, man, it'd be great to play that," but like you said, as you and I both know, when you do get into an opportunity where you do get to play that much, like, after, 20 shows in a row, you start to feel it. It's like, man, this is, it's a lot of work, so you
Yeah.
definitely got to be in the right frame of mind. You got to be in the right, physical shape, right, to be able to have the stamina and the endurance. But you got to have the pump, because it made me think, like, let's say that Foo Fighters do, let's just say 200 shows in a year, right, in
That's
their
a
tour,
lot.
right?
That would
But
be a
that's
lot of
yeah,
shows.
but that's generally what they do, I mean, it's like, 2 a night on, a night off, 2 nights on, a night off, 3 nights on, a night off, so it adds up pretty quick to where they
Yeah.
have several hundred shows, but, whether they're playing for you, or they're playing in Alaska, or they're playing in Kentucky, or they're playing in California, that could be their 50th, 60th show, and they're hitting their stride, but they gotta bring it as if, like, those people paid money to see that show. They don't wanna
Exactly.
know that you're tired and you played Minnesota last night and you're
Right.
beaten, you know what I mean? Like, they're expecting, like, full on. So, like, to bring that, that it's very inspiring to see, to bring it at that level every night.
Yeah. And I'm not quite at that where I have to like be running around stage and stuff, but it still is.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Energy.
it's still a similar thing. Yeah, where you need the energy. But by Sunday, in the first weekend, my like halfway through, my back was killing me. I'm just like, because I'm not used to, it's been a year really since I stood up and played bass for that long.
Yeah.
And so I got a stool when we were on break, and kind of sat sometimes and then kind of leaned on it sometimes. I didn't, just sit there like a lump. I still was actively performing on stage.
Mhm.
But I definitely felt it. So, but that made me think that, like, all right, I got to take a little bit better care of myself, diet wise, sleep wise, exercise wise. I got to stretch before I come play.
Yeah.
So prior to this past weekend, I did exactly that, and it was much better. I felt much better. Um, but
And
it's
how about personnel? Did you have your usual band cronies there? Did you
no,
have no, you had a mix, or was it different people every night, or was it the same guys,
it
gals for 3
was
nights?
it was let me think. The first weekend was the same drummer, but no, he's not a regular drummer. It was the same drummer for all 3 nights. We had 2 different guitar players for the weekend, and everybody else is the same, me, keyboards, and vocals.
And
Uh,
where's your usual drummer? He is gigging elsewhere?
he would, yeah, because during COVID, he's gotten work. He's gotten plenty of work. He's one of the more in-demand drummers around here,
Yeah.
and he has committed to these bands now over the last 4 or 5, 6 months, whatever, and they have gigs booked. So he's got to honor those, and they're generally on the weekends. So um,
You think he's coming back at some point?
it's hard to say. I did kind of talk to him about it. Um,
And that's Brent, right?
Yeah. So it's just kind of take it as it comes kind of thing, I think, at this point, because we're only in the second week. But this past weekend, I played with 3 different drummers, each a different drummer each night. And not one of the drummers was the guy who played last weekend.
Right. So it's all different guys every single night, different drummer. So let me ask you, so how does that make for, like, does it settle into a pocket at some point? Do you know, like, 2 songs in? I mean, I remember the first time you and I played, second song in, we were already locked, you know what I mean? It was like, we looked at each other like, "Wow, this is pretty special." So,
Right.
did you have any of those type of moments where, there was some, magic, but, like, the spontaneous,
Yeah, I mean, because the three guys that I played with this weekend are guys that I've played with before many times.
Gotcha.
So it's not there's not much of a learning curve as far as us locking in. It's immediate. Um,
Right, but 3 different guys, 3 different feels, 3 different
sure, yeah,
interpretations of tempo, right? 3 different interpretations of tempo for songs, right? Like, this guy plays this song a little fast, this guy plays it a little slower, right? This guy plays it busier, this guy plays it more straight. I'm sure you get a lot of variety.
yeah, definitely. But the variety with these three guys, it wasn't as drastic because all three of them are veterans, Bourbon Street, and just veterans in general, and
Sure.
they know how to play drums on a gig. So there was
Let's hope
no,
so.
yeah,
The
but
guys are
but
like, "Hey,
so
this came from my 3rd lesson. I got some beats down."
right, right. But they know, yeah, they know the deal, and there was no overplaying. There was none of that. They all know the songs that we play. They know the little different twists we put on things.
Mhm.
They're again people that I've played with hundreds of times. That's an easy part. And then this weekend again, there was two different guitar players, actually three. So now I have to get to the meat of this story, Tony.
Yes, please do, Steve.
Which is what the headline in this I put about is that, have you ever had to fire someone from a band? And I could have also put in there, have you ever been fired?
Mhm.
Because it's kind of the same thing. All right, so here we go. Our keyboard player. I mean, I want to keep it real here. That's how I do stuff. Like, I'm going to tell all these people the same stuff I would tell you if we were talking on the phone.
Sure.
And you know what?
But with a couple of hundred of our closest friends listening, of course.
Exactly. But I gotta take a drink. Cheers, anyone that's drinking out there.
Yeah,
Clink.
cheers. How about the beers guy? The guy had beers before, right?
Yeah. Anybody that's drinking, tell us what you're drinking and tell us where you are. It's gotten quiet now, so everybody's just
And
captivated
when you
with it.
hear this whistle, it means it's time to drink.
Right. I like it. It's the wet your wisdom whistle.
Whistle. There you go.
Wet your wisdom.
WWW. It's W to the third. 3 W's right there, Steve.
Wet your wisdom whistle.
Witchell. It's 4 W's.
That's important. All right, so I'll drink again.
Yeah, we got to do that.
Because you did it.
All right, but you can tell your story now.
All right, so our keyboard player, nice guy, good keyboard player, a little eccentric.
This is your regular guy, regular
Been our
keyboard guy.
regular guy. I'm not going to say his name. I don't want to, like completely obliterate or disparage this guy, but I am going to tell the truth of what happened. He's a little eccentric. And especially lately, since we came back post COVID playing, it's very difficult to describe what he does, but it's almost like a Tourette's syndrome kind of thing where he starts to dance around. It's like interpretive dance / martial arts something that he does.
As he's playing or when he's not playing?
On stage, he'll do it, but especially when he's not playing, especially when we're sitting on break or before the gig.
Okay.
And it's very peculiar.
Have you tried embracing it? Have you tried doing some interpretive dance moves in your corner?
No. And not that I wouldn't, but what's bizarre about this is that he doesn't talk about it. He doesn't tell anybody, oh yeah, this is my, Tai Chi exercise thing that I'm doing. That, he just,
he's doing some katas on the side of the stage in between. When he's not playing, he's practicing his.
Yeah, it's very peculiar. It's indescribable. Bernard said, "Is it nerves?" It's way beyond nerves. It's something that's psychologically
Is
going
it like
on. Ish, yeah.
David Byrnish kind of?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. For
Okay.
the audio audience, he just did the David Byrne from
You may ask yourself, how
that
do I work
video,
this?
the chopping on the hand move,
Yes.
or chopping on the arm. So
Same as
no,
it
it's
ever
way
was.
more bizarre. Like at one point last weekend, we were on break, and he's doing all this stuff, and he's standing in the middle of the street where there's people walking around and stuff, and
In the middle of the
people
street, outside.
outside, and people are stopping and watching him, and people are laughing because it's just so.
Does he have a hat out for like some
No,
cash?
no. And then at one point last week, and he just started spinning in place. He was just spinning around in place, and you could look in his eyes, and they're just completely glazed over. It's like he's not here. It's something, he's either doing drugs or not doing drugs that he's supposed to be doing, or he's just
Something's amiss.
something is amiss. I mean, there's Hannibal Lecters in the world, and he might be one of them. There just are people. Some people are crazy. Some people are crazy. So, all right. So let's get to what happened.
Steve.
So all that doesn't, it doesn't really bother me that much. It's just interesting. But I'm going to say 2 weeks, or almost 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, we played there for the first time since COVID, and we just did the one night, and he was doing that stuff on stage. Once we were set up, he had his gear, he had a little a monitor behind him, which is right directly in front of me, that's facing up, sort of diagonally up towards him.
But he wasn't doing it while he was setting up.
And we're this is before we even started playing. We're up there just getting sound check and whatnot, and just riffing through stuff. And he started doing that, like where he's jumping in the air, and he's kicking. I mean, in this very small space,
like David Lee Roth style.
Ish. I mean, it's just bizarre. It's hard to really describe. It's very, very sporadic, or not sporadic. It's not the word. It's
we need
spastic.
some iPhone.
It's spastic is the word. It's just it.
iPhone video footage.
Yeah, it's too late for that. But
so
I leaned into him and I said, "Dude, be careful." And I pointed to the lip of from his level to my level. It's like 4 inches, maybe 5 inches.
Careful, dude, you might take a header over here.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. I've actually fallen on that stage because of that lip. That actually happened to me, where I jumped up and I hit the lip and I fell back on my ass, which was was very embarrassing. But so I was thinking, while he's jumping him down, I'm like, dude, yeah, I mean, it's easy for him to catch that lip and fall.
Sure.
So I just said, and so this was 2.5 weeks ago. So Friday night, we're playing this past Friday night, and during the set, like in between songs, he does not interact with anybody on stage. He definitely doesn't interact with me.
So he's in his own private little hang.
Yeah. So in between songs during the set, he turned around and looked me in the eye and jumped at me, like jumped towards me with his arms out, like he was going to hit me. And I didn't really react to it at all, because it was just so sudden and it was so bizarre. And I just, and he said something like, "You should be more careful." As if he's responding to that thing from 2.5 weeks ago, that like he's still holding some sort of grudge about me, like as if I was trying to stifle his performance or something. I was just trying to.
Maybe you should try jousting him with your bass neck in his throat and see if that has an effect on him.
Yeah. Bernard said it sounds like he's on something. And that was kind of the consensus with people, that he's been that way. But then that's okay. Now you're getting aggressive on stage. You're stepping over the line. And then when we were done, after we played the last song, he turned around and he said, "Hey man, I'm sorry for doing that." I was like, "All right, it's okay." And
okay. So at least he acknowledged it and apologized.
He acknowledged that he did it, and I let it go.
Now, how's his performance-wise when he's not
His
doing his
performance is not good, and that's another issue. Is he has not been playing songs correctly. Um, he'll just sit there and play like one note, play the root note on a song, and like, and I have a good vantage point of his playing now because I'm right behind him, so I'm seeing him and I'm seeing him playing wrong chords in songs,
So let
and
me ask
just
you, is it
not.
a regular guy, right? Who's
This
like
has been our regular. I
I
mean,
mean,
when
even before COVID, right?
yeah, pre-COVID, but pre-COVID, this band was only together for like 4 months.
Understood, but was he doing these type of antics back then, and was he only playing the one finger, synth part?
Yeah, I mean, he was doing antics, but
Okay, so it's
not to this severity, and he wasn't stepping up to his game for playing songs really ever.
so this isn't
But
something brand new, it's just escalated into a little kookier than normal.
it's escalated into a lot kookier. Um, and then vocal wise, he's just not singing his parts um, or singing wrong parts, and so. But so there has already been talk in the band about like, we need another solution here. This because Famous Door is the premier room on Bourbon Street. That's the room. If
Yeah.
you're in a band, that is the number one room that you want to play.
A game, A players, you need to be on top.
Exactly. And I feel like if you're going to have that job and you're going to make that pay there and play to that audience, then you need to have earned it. You need to have earned that position. That is not a gift
That's
position.
fair. It's fair. Have you any of you guys had a conversation with him?
Well, there's more to the story.
Oh, okay.
Let me
So
take
wait,
a minute. All
so
right,
is
so
the
let's take another
as
sip.
you're drinking, so these antics, so you played 3 nights, right? So is what you're describing just the first night? Is this like the tip of the iceberg of the story?
That was Friday night.
Okay, so first
So
night, yeah, okay,
Friday night.
gotcha.
But I'm easygoing, and I'm not going to let stuff like that bother me. Somebody else's stuff.
Sure.
That's not going to bother me. So I let it go. So the next night, Saturday night, our personnel was it's a different drummer. Um, and a guy that I played with a ton and he has played in that room for the last 5 years, like full time. He was like the guy on the weekend, so he knows the deal. Um, so it was great to play with him. I do love playing with different drummers. I love playing with drummers that I love, and I would play with that drummer that I love all the time. But I also love the variety of playing with other drummers. It's fun
Sure.
because I end up playing a little differently, based on the
Yeah, it
way that
breaks it.
drummer is playing.
Sure, absolutely. Like we talked about, tempo,
Right.
pocket, feel, you have to adjust.
Right. So, Saturday, the gig went off really without incident, for the whole gig, and it was good. Saturday night on Bourbon Street. It was good night, good fun night.
And good crowds,
Good,
Friday night,
good
Saturday night?
crowds, both. Yeah, all 3 nights, really good crowds. Um, Not starting off. We're starting at 6 o'clock. So usually in the beginning of the night, it's not a lot of people there, but it builds up as the night goes on. Um, so yeah, gig went off without a hitch. Everything was fine. Had a good time, good crowd. And then we're loading out, and you might have a picture of the stage, but if you're looking at it from the audience point of view, right in the middle of the stage is a staircase that goes up to the stage. It's 4 steps
Yep.
that goes up to the right in dead center of the stage, and then that's your access to get on and off the stage. So and towards the end of the night, I think I was done really packing up and stuff, and I was walking down those stairs to the floor, and I was, I'm done chilling, walking down the stairs casually. He's behind me, and he gives me a little shove as I'm walking, and then a second later gives me a harder shove on the back with his hand. And and I continued walking, and not a hard enough shove for me to fall, but hard enough to try to make a point. So I got to the bottom and I turned around. I was like, "Don't effing push me." He goes, "You were walking too slow."
Okay. Clearly some kind of other issue going on there.
Yeah. So I went into our band leader and I said, I'm not playing with this guy anymore. I'm done with this guy. He's not doing a good job, and he's an asshole. There's something really, really psychologically wrong with this guy. So I don't want to do it. And she said, me neither. So she told him not to come in the next night, and then he ended up quitting, which is dumb. It's just like you're trying to dominate move.
So do you have to pull a Geddy Lee now and do double duty and play keyboards and sing and play bass?
No, but that's not a bad idea to try. Anyway, I can play keyboards. So Sunday night. So what we did, we couldn't get a sub keyboard player, so we got another guitar player.
So hang on. So he played Friday night, Saturday night. Yeah, the incident Saturday. That was it. Words were discussed. Whatever. He was dismissed, but tried to say, "Well, I'm quitting anyway, so I'm out of here." And then Sunday, he's no show. You couldn't get a replacement, and now you have a second guitar player.
Second guitar player. So we went.
That's a cool dynamic.
2 guitarists, and a different drummer. God bless you.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Salute. But the drummer on Sunday was Brent, so he's our regular drummer. So it was nice to have Brent there, and we had a sub guitar player and then a second sub guitar player.
Had you played with either one of the subs guitar players?
Yeah. The one guy who was basically subbing on guitar has also played in that room for the last like 5 years, and he comes in and he does a great job. He's a great guy. Sings everything. And the other guitar player that we got to sub for the keyboard player is a guy that I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of times at the Swamp. And maybe he was playing. Was Glenn playing when you were here, or was it Austin?
Yeah, Glenn. Sure,
it was Glenn. So it wasn't Glenn. It was Austin. Austin's the other guitar player. Austin was the one.
Okay, no, I played with Glenn.
Yeah, and Austin's phenomenal musician. So it was a blast. Those two having 2 guitars on stage. They're both very animated. They're both very upbeat, and they're flashy players, both of them. Uh-huh. But they knew when to lay back. Each one of them knew when to lay back and let the other guy go. But then they were having these like solo things going on. They were like rubbing their guitar necks together. The one guy has a bow that he does a little solo with, and Austin has a beer bottle, and
that's cool. It's not like they had a good time.
It was a ton of fun, and we did. Somebody requested Hotel California, but they wanted us to play it fast, and there was a band
disco version of Hotel California.
Yeah, that's exactly what they said. They said we want the disco version of Hotel California. So there was this band that I used to see that played before us. This was years ago. This was like 8 years ago. I played a club called Voodoo Vibe, and this band, their last song, I would always see their last song because we'd be there getting ready for us to go on. And their last song was always Hotel California double time. Cool. And I think they started it originally because there was some night where somebody requested it and they only had like 3 minutes left to play, and they were like, all right, let's just do it double time. And then it came out of that. And it was always a trip. It was always fun watching them play it. It was, and the song still translates.
Right. Yeah.
And you could still perform it.
No, great tune, just like a mashup,
Yeah. So we did that. And at first, everybody on stage was like, no, how are we going to do that? We can't do that. And then we finally figured it out. Somebody started it, and we figured it out. And we played it double time, and it was so much fun. And then soon after that, somebody requested Sweet Home Alabama. And somebody, I guess, it wasn't my idea, but somebody, I guess, on stage or in the audience shouted,
double time.
Play it double time. So we did. And I was singing it, and it was so much fun to sing it double time. It was, I'm not singing it much differently, but it was still just fun. But then when it got to the solo, Brent, he's such a good drummer. He pulled it back exactly on the one to the normal tempo of the song. Uh-huh. So we're going, Sweet Home Alabama.
Right. Yeah.
And then so we're nearing the end of the solo, and I turn around to him and I'm like, bring it back up. So at the end of the solo, he brought it back to double time. We do the last verse and then out. And I could not stop. I'm singing the song, but I couldn't stop laughing. I couldn't stop laughing the whole time. It was so funny to me. It was so funny how, just how it sounds, but how good he like
The
branches
transition
at
was, yeah.
tempo wise. Just, I mean, it was just boom. That's a very good skill for drummers, because that's something that some drummers have difficulty with, is just like play at 120 and now play at 60.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. The best way to develop that is to play with a click, by yourself when you're practicing,
Yeah.
and do exactly that. Play at 120, then cut it in half, then put a 6/8 feel against it. You know what I mean? Then put a quarter note triplet, like superimpose the time within the time,
Right.
because like you said, you want to be in command of the tempo, regardless if it's fast, slow, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And Brent's real good at that. And the other guys too, the other guys that played this weekend, and pretty much everybody we play with here. But so that's so now we need a keyboard player.
Mm.
So anybody out there watching this or listening to this on iTunes or on wherever you're
Yeah, if
listening
if
to
you're,
your
if you're close
podcasts,
to Bourbon Street, look them up.
if you want a steady gig, seriously, if you want a steady gig, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we make good pay. It's a ton of fun. It's it's an amazing city to work as a musician, and it's the best room on the street. If you want a gig, then
Send
contact
your
me.
resume, social security number, and credit card to steve@coverbandcentral.com.
That's right. Uh, but seriously, because this is an opportunity right now, and anybody's out there, there's got to be somebody out there that wants to make a life change. That's like, man, I'm going to go to New Orleans. I'm going to play music for a living.
Hey, what about other cats on the street that haven't played that maybe,
They're
aren't
few and far
aren't
between, man. There's only certain guys for every instrument that everybody knows on the street. Um, it's limited,
mm,
and the obviously the most in demand people are going to be playing already. They're going to snatch up the first gigs. Um, so that's what's happened. So and some people have fallen off in the last year. Some people have moved away. Some people have gotten different jobs, like regular jobs, where they can't
mhm.
play anymore. So so there's not a lot of people locally, and I put it out yesterday in the Cover Band Central group saying, hey, I basically put an ad to keyboard player wanted. I described what the job is, and I didn't really get much in the way of responses. So
Hmm.
I don't know. There's got to be somebody out there that can get the job done. It's just, you got to know 80s, 90s, 70s, 80s, 90s songs. Um, uh, Preferably you can sing, and
So you guys don't go much past 90s?
we do. Yeah, I mean, we play
A
like the
little bit?
Bruno Mars stuff. We play the Sia song. Uh, I can't think of stuff offhand, but not too much. I mean, we're doing popular stuff. It's just because basically right now it's the common songs that everybody knows, because we're piecemealing this band together all the time.
Right.
So, but it's a wide range of songs. We're doing 60 to 70 songs a night and not repeating anything.
Hey, so let me ask you a question. So if given the choice, if you knew you were gonna play 50 gigs in the next, 4 months, let's say, right? 5 months. So you can
Hmm.
play 10 gigs a month. Well, you're playing what, 4 a week now?
3 a week, so 12 a month. So
Okay, yeah. So let's say you were gonna play the next 4 months, 50 gigs. Would you rather play those 50 gigs with, 5 different drummers, 3 different guitar players, and, maybe a substitute singer, or would you rather play those gigs with the same people every night?
I
The
would
philosophy.
yeah, I would mostly rather have the same people,
Yeah.
but I do like when other people step in.
Because I can remember playing like with Mr. Personality or Eye of the Storm, where it was the same guys, for several years, and man, I just can't attest to the fact of how the band becomes like a machine. Like, you know what I mean? It just becomes unstoppable. Like, everyone's so in tune with what's going on in the rhythm section. You're playing with the same bass player and drummer every night, and you have that connection. And, 100 gigs in, you're playing with the same guys. And it's just, it becomes like, just a different experience where you almost take it for granted, right? Because the band sounds so good every night that you're just enjoying it so much. And then when you don't have that anymore, that's when you realize, like, wow, that was really special. And, you know, I'm glad I paid attention, during that time to some of those gigs because there was some magic there.
Yeah, I mean that definitely happens, and that's really kind of happened with a lot of people that I've played with here because I've played with them so much.
Sure.
It's almost like it's this one uh, entity, this machine of musicians that all are kind of knowing each other and knowing how each other does things. It really is. I mean, you talk about the magic that you feel that happens when you're playing in a band. I experience it all the time, and I definitely don't take it for granted. And it's wonderful, and it is cool to experience it with different people. It's nice to have a variety of that. But I do know the value of playing with the same person or the same band all the time. But I also know how it can get a little tedious and a little like you start to nitpick things. If you're playing like when I was at the Swamp and I'm playing 4 nights a week or 5 nights a week with the same people, you start to be like that one kick drum that you hit there that annoys me right there. That kick or just like
Yeah,
stupid
but
little
that's
stuff.
that's a good thing though, if you think about it, because you're developing and you're enhancing, unless the guy tells you, F you, I'm playing the kick drum there whether you like it or not. That's my
Yeah.
favorite part. Too bad. Then you wait till the end of the night and you walk behind him down the stairs and give him a shove. Maybe a little harder than, you might think about, but you let him know what's going on.
Yeah. You show him his boss.
That's right. Hey, just remember, that's right. Then when you push the drummer down, he's like, "Okay, buddy, you just wait till the next gig when I start having fun with the tempo, and I'll show you who's boss. You
Oh
want to play
man.
that song fast? Watch how slow we go, and you will all have to follow me."
Yes. So now I completely got derailed and I don't know what I was talking about.
No, about different players and
Right.
having the not take it for granted the fun. So I'll
Yeah.
derail you, Steve, but I'll remember where you were so I can bring you back.
Bring me back.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was your question. Would I rather do that? Yeah, it does value in both, I
Yeah,
guess.
because I can even remember times playing with Weisenheimers where, like, we had a gig. I remember we played a Christmas party one time, and we had a sub drummer, but it was at my company Christmas party, so I was gonna sit in a couple of songs, and we decided to do Limelight unrehearsed. Like, we're just gonna roll up and do it.
Right.
So, Vin Solano happened to be there, right? I worked with Vinny, and he knew it, like, really good. So when he came up and was singing a bunch of songs, I said to him, "Hey, I got this great idea. Why don't we do Limelight? And you and Shuli, a regular singer, can trade verses, and you can kind of coach her on the timing because she'd never done it before." And I got to tell you, dude, we did it, and it was like the best version ever. It was like note for note, spot on, super high energy, relaxed, no one stressed. It was just like one of those moments where I just remember as we were playing it being like, man, like it doesn't get any better than this, you know? It was just everything was aligned.
Right on.
It's like it's the zone, everyone was in the zone. It was just
Sure.
like for that, for those 5 songs that we got up and did, it was just like pure magic.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of what I felt, especially with the Sweet Home thing, where it's double time, back to
Right.
regular time, back to
Yep.
double time.
Yeah.
I loved it. That made my night just doing that thing.
Yeah.
Um, but I really do like, I said from the first weekend, I was after Friday night, I was like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. I really do. I really enjoy it. I really feel I really feel fortunate that we are playing in that room.
Yeah, I can't do
Um,
this anymore, man, but I fucking love it.
yeah,
Just
no,
gotta
I'll
do it.
do it. I'll do it for a little while, as long as it remains to be fun. And changing that personnel is going to make it more fun because that was a downer for that.
Yeah, to make it less risky too, like
Yeah.
having
unless he comes back with a
sparring matches in the front. Well, if he comes back with a machine gun or something, then you
yeah.
board the shower curtain.
I was half expecting.
You might need some bulletproof plexiglass. That's what you need to go buy, Steve. You need to buy like a little surround cage of some bulletproof plexiglass to put around yourself in case it's an issue. You're protected. You could be behind the glass like ha 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 as you run out the other door.
Right. Yeah, let's hope it doesn't come to that.
No, I'm sure it won't. Listen, hopefully that guy, finds whatever it is that he needs to find some peace with himself. He's just
I don't know.
sounds like he's not in a good place.
I don't have a lot of hope for him, but
Well,
I do hope for him, but I don't know. I that's it. What can I tell you?
So all we can do, Steve, wish him well.
Yes, wish him well. So it'll be interesting to see what goes on next week. I have no idea. And I'm not in charge of it, which I'm really happy about.
You might have 3 guitar players. You might have 2 bass players. Imagine that.
Never know. Probably not.
You're going to show up and be a guy with an upright bass. Stand up, big upright bass next to you, like, hey, bud, what's going on? It's a cat.
It's a cat.
Do.
Actually, we're playing next week. We're doing Famous Store on Friday. We're doing a gig outside of the Quarter on Saturday, and then back Famous Store on Sunday. So
cool.
More variety.
I'm gigging on the 15th, and then the following weekend on the 24th. So I got 2 gigs coming up.
The 15th is Friday?
Yeah, it's a Friday night, and then the following week is Saturday afternoon.
Very good. Look forward to that. Take some video and some pictures so we can show it.
Yeah, I definitely will.
Yes. Okay. I was trying to find some comments here.
There's got to be some. We're talking about all kinds of stuff, man. What's up, Steve?
Just to say that they're just completely enthralled with what we're talking about. That's it.
Of course they are. Of course they are, Steve. Well, you know what it is? They're all sitting there and they're saying, "Oh man, maybe I got to stop doing interpretive dance in between, breaks and stuff like that. It's frowned upon now."
I wish I had video that I could
show.
Just
exposed people who are like second guessing now what they're doing.
It would be horrible. It would be horrible to show the video, but I wish I had it to just really. I don't know. I never did that when he was doing it. I never took any video.
That would kind of be disrespectful in a way, and then to mock it later. You know what I mean? Like that gentleman may have some technical issues going on that he needs to work out. So we shouldn't be making light of that. We should be here to support that.
Exactly. Except when you get aggressive with me, you get aggressive with the band, then you got to go.
Yeah,
that's it.
Correct. But we wish you well. No ill will. Upward and onward.
Okay. I would show your comment, Facebook user, if you put your name up there, but it's a long comment and it just says Facebook user, so I'm not going to put it up. All right, so I got a couple things. I started working on, because I want to do this daily show that I've talked about now for several weeks.
Yep.
Daily video thing with its themed day, Motivation Monday.
Yep.
Tribute Tuesday, whatever, Wednesday, Throwback Thursday, and Funky Friday. So I talked to Jeff. Jeff, my friend Jeff.
Wait, what about Spectacular Saturday?
No, I'm taking the weekends off, man.
Oh, okay.
My buddy Jeff from LA. Friends with him for a long time. Great musician, great artist, everything. And we do a Skype call every week. And he was just sitting there with the guitar, and we started coming up with little themes for each of those days, and we came up with all 5 of them, and they're all different.
Cool.
So I started recording. I'm learning GarageBand, and I've had a Mac now for like a year and a half, and that's the first time I've had a Mac. So I never had GarageBand before, and one of the reasons I wanted a Mac was so I would have GarageBand, and I haven't used it in the last year and a half. So this gave me an excuse to start using GarageBand. So I'm learning it. It's relatively easy to figure out.
Yeah, GarageBand's simple once you get into it.
Yeah, but I really had to start with tutorials, going to YouTube and like, how do I do this stuff? So I started writing those little jingles today, writing the drum beats for it, and I'm going to put the bass track on. I was trying to put the bass track down before, just really like an hour or so ago, and I was getting all this feedback, and I have no idea why. And I have to figure out this whole friggin' setup and why it was feeding back on me. Um, but I will, and it's fun, yeah, because they're just quick little,
Yeah.
10-second little jingles for each day.
And dude, GarageBand's easy. You can just bust stuff out. I mean, like, you know, I've done stuff on my phone in the parking lot, you know what I mean? Like interacting with a buddy of mine, like sending stuff.
Right,
And, you know, Cole's used it for years. And now when I got my new Mac, I got the Logic Pro X, which is like what they took GarageBand from. They watered it down to make GarageBand. So it's very similar. It's got the same, sort of features to it, but you have all kinds of plugins, thousands of effects and compressors and EQs and guitar amps and it comes with all kinds of packs of just stuff like it's endless. So I mean, just dipping in the my toe in the water of engineering, it's been exciting to mic up the kit and have 16 channels going through the Focusrite and then to get it into the program and then manipulate it. Same thing, tutorials, go on, figure out how to use stuff. And thankfully I'm not mixing a whole band, I'm just mixing drums, so it's not as challenging as it would be to get all the instruments in there because sonically, you know what I mean? The drums all kind of fit in their own frequency. You're not trying to mix a
right,
whole band in. But it's
right.
it's very robust and it's I've only scratched the surface of it and it's super cool. So I got a lot of
Yeah,
exciting things planned to do with that coming next couple of months.
cool. Yeah, me too. It's fun. It's a toy. It's like, oh wow, I didn't
Yeah.
realize that, like, technology. I knew technology had come this far. Like, I've heard about it, but I didn't. I've never played with it as much now or as I am now. So yeah, it's a
But
trip.
what's amazing to me is we could be in a studio like you have in your background there, growing up, like, we've all recorded, right? So we recorded several albums with Eye of the Storm and other bands where we were in, a pro studio, like D&D recording or North 40 or Tracks East, like a place that's like a real studio with real engineers. And always so amazed that, like, man, the drums just sound so great. And
Right,
now you can have that in your house. Like I have
right.
that right now, for less than $1,000, you can buy all the equipment to make it, and it's just amazing that you can have that technology that 20 years ago you'd be in $1 million studio, and now you can have it in your home studio, and
It's
it's
incredible. Yeah,
and the quality of the sound is just it really is incredible. Like I was
yeah,
really blown away by how good it sounded. You know.
yeah, yeah. It's fun. I was nervous about trying. I'm like, how am I going to figure all this stuff out? And then once I started doing it today and just broke past that, like, stop worrying about it. Then
Come
it
on,
was like, all
man! You're
right,
putting
it's fun.
together video trailers and all kinds of stuff for CBC.
Yeah,
GarageBand, dude. 5 minutes, you're a master at.
yeah. And that's a good point because it really is about the end game, about what is it I want to accomplish really ultimately
Mhm.
from this, and then the greater passion I have for wanting to accomplish that thing, the easier it's going to be to go through these growing pains of learning stuff and
Well,
implementing
it's
that
great
stuff.
too. It's like we're musicians, right? We're not audio engineers. We're not videographers, right? But
Right,
if we want to shoot quality videos and post them to YouTube and edit them and have good quality sound, right? Because we talked about this. You'd much rather listen to a video with great sound than listen to a video that's like 8K and has crappy sound. You'll listen to it
right.
for a minute and be like, this is horrible. But you could watch a grainy video with great sound and be, engaged in it. So, not to digress, but by doing that, it makes us as musicians have to understand how stuff works, right? Like how the video works, how video editing works, how the actual audio engineering works, what EQ does. And I can't stress enough to musicians, like it's important to master your craft and play your instrument, but it's also equally as important to understand technology so you don't get left behind.
Yeah, yeah,
Because especially in today's day with COVID and everything that's evolved with live streaming and the video and audio, it's like you have to be in the game, otherwise you're going to be left by the wayside. And don't be, you know, intimidated by it because like you said, there's so much content out there and so many videos and tutorials. Like you could find anything about anything and someone's got something up about it. And
yeah,
some are better than others, but you can definitely navigate through and you can, if you have the passion to do it, you can learn it and you can teach yourself, but give yourself time, right? Don't put a time limit on it and say like, oh, I got to have this done in a month or I got to have this done in a week. You need a little bit of acclimation time.
Yeah, that's good advice too, and because that's something that I was thinking. Because Jeff is gonna, I'm doing the drum tracks and the bass track and putting a keyboard track on there, and gonna send it to Jeff. He's gonna put guitar and vocal on it, and
Right.
I feel like I have a deadline with Jeff. Like I need to get it done this week because he's got other stuff coming up that he's not gonna have time to do it. So which is good in this case. It kicks me in the butt and makes me get it done.
But how cool is that? You can track it, right? Lay down all your stuff, save the file, send it to him. He opens it up, then he puts his stuff down in real time, sends it
Yeah,
back to you, and you have a completed project, a
yeah.
complete song.
Yeah, and it's relatively
Awesome.
simple. Like I said, they're 10 seconds long, these little
Yeah.
jingles. So it's a fun way to learn this program because I've never used it before. So, but I can anticipate now that I'm getting the hang of it, that I'm going to use it a lot more. It's fun. It's fun.
Oh yeah. Dude, Cole used GarageBand for probably a year and recorded like 20 songs on it, both using the internal, instruments and also recording, because we had everything mic'd up into GarageBand. But it's before we had Logic Pro. Now that we have Logic Pro X, I mean, now he comes down, he plugs in, and he's it's like full blown studio. So
Right,
it's definitely a step up. But GarageBand was a great primer for the Logic X, because the Logic Pro X is very intuitive, but it's a little bit more robust. But if you've used GarageBand, it's a lot easier to navigate. And that's one of the reasons why I got it, as opposed to like Pro Tools or Cubase or Ableton. You know what I mean? Like they seem like they're a little bit more, have a steeper learning curve, and they're
right.
not, for what I'm doing, I don't need a million features, and so I feel, for me, that Logic Pro X was the right choice as far as my interface and my DAW, and so far it's been working great. I'm very happy with it.
That's cool. I'll check that out too after I, don't need or need something besides GarageBand.
Listen, GarageBand will take you far. I mean, it's very,
Right.
it's a very robust app. You can do a lot with it.
Yeah, and there's not that much I need to do. Uh, Dan said, how do I record my bass? I plugged it in, and again, I'm just learning this, and this is what I was doing like an hour or so ago, or an hour prior to us starting this. I have the drum track set. I wrote the drum track, and I plugged in my bass and tried to start playing along with it, and I was getting this crazy feedback, and I have no idea why. So that's where I left off. So my plan is to just plug in my bass, play direct to the drum track that I wrote. Um, yeah, so that's it. Just plug in direct.
Yeah, you have some button clicked that's making it doubled. You know what I mean? Like if you go into it and look at it, there'll be like a little, looks like a Wi-Fi sign. Sometimes if
Yeah,
you click that, it'll say allows you to listen to your instrument while you're recording.
right.
So it kind of like unmutes it, but
Yeah,
it's
and
designed to be.
that's what I did, and it was like screaming feedback. It was crazy.
Hmm.
So I have to figure out what that reason is, but I will, and I'll have an update for you next week.
Well,
Um,
Jerry, GarageBand, right? Jerry, my tech assistant, he knows GarageBand. He'll contact you after the show, and he'll give you a little help with it if you need it.
all right, that's cool.
Cool.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thanks, Jerry.
So next week, my friend, we are going to have we're going to do a crossover episode with Cover Band Confidential, which is Dan Ray and Adam Johnson. Dan Ray was somebody that was a part of the Wizdumb Hour early on in our first
Yes, I
in
remember
our
Dan Ray.
infancy. And yeah, and by the way, yesterday was 4 years ago. That was our first episode. Yesterday, April 5th, was our 4-year anniversary. So our
4
anniversary
years.
is always on the day that Kurt Cobain and Lane Staley died.
Correct.
So we'll always remember that.
And think
But
about
4
this
years ago.
too, probably in the last 2 years, we've done most of the episodes because it was a little sporadic in the beginning.
Yeah, we were skipping weeks a lot
Yeah.
in the beginning, but we're on it now, and we thank you for watching. Please share this. Please subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel, and tell your friends. You can go sign up too for a free profile, coverbandcentral.com. There's a lot going on the website, and it's just getting bigger and bigger.
Support the cause, baby.
Support the cause. Yes. So yeah, next week, Cover Band Confidential crossover episode, CBC with CBC.
Cool.
And and that'll be a lot of fun. It's always great to have guests. And that's it.
CBC, not
Yes.
CBD.
Have a great week, guys. Be good to each other.
Peace.
Keep playing music. Keep the faith. We'll see you.
Central.